There is a place between pixels and reality where the lines of gaming, tech, and pop culture blur into chaos. A world where the past collides with the future, where ones and zeros shape destiny. But beware, nothing is ever what it seems.
From retro classics to breaking news, from hot takes to rage-fueled rants, we break it down, rank it up, and glitch it out, one bite at a time. So grab your headsets, log in, and get ready to glitch out. This is Glitch in the Chat.
Every time I dislike you more and more, Tyler.
That's what's new. What's new?
Just your face. There's something about it that I don't like. By the way, welcome to Glitch in the Chat. It's already starting off tonight. He's got me in a mood, and I don't think it's going away. But as always, with me is my good buddies Tyler and Q, who you guys know as the sexy face that doesn't move. Say hi, everybody.
I just always do the Colin Robinson, just the hello.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Which at some point, unless that's going to get
here.
taken, I mean, all of our stuff gets taken down. I feel like after the last episode.
I know.
Apparently, SNL is copyrighted. Everybody, you can't watch clips of SNL and put it on a podcast. We had to edit that out. So a lot of content you guys missed, but was really good and fun. Last episode, did we get any comments on the last episode?
I have no idea. I haven't even looked.
You haven't even checked. Okay. Well, if we did, we haven't read them. So.
Well, I got a little preoccupied with a game you probably haven't heard of.
What is it?
Schedule 1. You ever heard it?
Raid Shadow Legends. Please sponsor us.
Yeah, welcome. Say hello to our new sponsor, and then cut.
Raid Shadow Legends, because they basically sponsor
Raid
everybody
Shadow
who
Legends.
has any type of podcast.
Yep.
So
yeah,
tell me about this game.
You were literally a drug dealer. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And supposedly there's undercover cops. I haven't seen that yet.
Is there?
So yeah. But hey, I still met the 1 week editing schedule that we have there. So.
Just barely. We squeezed it out. Nice job, Tyler, because you did that all by yourself. I left you high and dry. I'm sorry. And we'll get better at that. But what is today? It's a Tuesday. Tuesday in April. It's like just another random day. But what do we got?
April showers.
April showers bring May flowers.
I've heard, yes.
Where does that come from? Because so far it hasn't rained very much this April.
I don't know where the hell you're living. It's rained a ton up here.
Hasn't?
Yeah.
It rained like twice.
Well, it's because you live in a big city and the government's out to
They're spreading them chemicals in the air.
Yeah, keep the rain away.
Dude, so not even gonna lie, did any of you guys have teachers that you thought were crazy because they talked about chemtrails and stuff?
No.
None of you guys had that? I had that in school.
No. Oh.
Partially because I went
Okay.
to a Christian school. It was the pastor of the church, but he always talked about like chemtrails and like when you see those planes flying in the sky, And that trail, they're changing the weather. And I thought he was insane. Like, I kid you not, in school, I was like, what are you smoking? Like, you're insane.
Yeah.
And now that I'm adult, you see that, son? That's a chemtrail, and they're changing our weather. I'm the exact way.
You're the crazy guy now,
But-
yeah.
There was some truth to it, and he actually wasn't that insane after all. Because that is what they're doing. They're literally spreading stuff in the air to change the moisture and create clouds that cause rain. Like, that's what they're doing. And I thought he was crazy.
Yeah. Well, it was just like that, the conspiracy was that they made, was it Beryl that devastated North Carolina, right? Or
What is
or
that?
Helene. It was Helene.
The hurricane?
Hurricane Helene this past summer, yeah, where the conspiracy was that they created Hurricane Helene to the conditions were right and they formed a hurricane so that way it would devastate part of Trump's voter base so he couldn't be voted president.
I did not hear that
Yeah.
one. That seems a little far-fetched to me.
Oh yeah.
But I do believe that they do things. I mean, it's just like them spreading stuff in the soil, and like we try to chemical everything up, but they do put stuff up there that change things,
Oh yeah.
atmospheric pressure and all that stuff. But when I was a kid, I thought that was effing crazy.
Extreme.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got some things.
Yeah. What do
we're
we
gonna
got?
talk
What do we
about.
got today?
Let's talk about the actual things that we came here to talk about
Sorry.
today, not the things we didn't.
I'm glitching out, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about trying to figure out the best way to. You know what? We're just gonna talk about some tariffs. And
That seems pretty
a
popular
tariff
right
strategy.
now. Everybody's freaking out about them.
Um,
Taxes? I didn't know
Also-
tariffs were taxes.
also some TV, some cartoon TV. You guys watch a lot of cartoons?
That's
yes
another
and
word
no.
for taxes.
Yeah, I could see
Tax.
Powerpuff
That's a
Girls.
tax.
My Little
I
Pony.
did back in the day. I mean, now you can watch whatever you want because TV doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. And then also, some stuff got de-extincted.
I did hear about that. That we're living in Jurassic Park because that's next.
You know what? I was so Quentin showed me
De-extincted.
this anime, and this is a perfect opportunity because I likened his betrayal to the what's the guy's name? The mailman from Seinfeld.
Oh,
You know what I'm
Newman.
talking about? Yes.
Newman.
You remember when he like tries to steal the eggs and then leave everybody for dead?
He's like
in
one of the
Jurassic
best
Park?
characters in the show.
Right. So that's a pretty big betrayal, wouldn't you say?
Dotson. I got Dotson over here. Nobody cares.
Wouldn't you say that's a pretty big betrayal when he does that, right? And tries to leave them all for dead, basically,
Yeah.
to steal the eggs? Yeah.
Yeah. It tells
Well,
you
I found
don't,
an even
don't
bigger
rely on
betrayal.
one person to run your entire park.
Yeah. Okay. I have literally found an even bigger betrayal. You ever seen the show Berserk?
Actually, I believe Quentin has shared that show with me. Berserk.
Yeah. This Berserk, it's the biggest, but I mean,
Honestly,
I watched the end of it and
I haven't watched it for a
I
long
instantly hated
For now.
the bad guy. Okay.
time. Aren't you supposed to?
No, like there's bad guys, where you can like sort of understand.
So like a
why they're doing what they're
sympathizing.
doing.
So this is not a sympathizing bad guy because I haven't seen the end of it. So
Have you seen it at all?
I have seen like some fight. I think Q, you showed me some fight scenes, and I have a DVD of Berserk somewhere because yeah,
You're missing out on
it's
the
one of
good
the
part.
movies.
Dude. Okay.
All right,
So
I'll
I don't
watch,
really
I'll
want to
watch
spoil it.
I'll watch it, and then next
I'm-
week we'll come back. and
It-
You
talk
need to
about
watch all three of
I
the
want
movies
to-
with your wife.
I can't even put into words. Like I said, what the I vividly remember when I watched this. the last 2 episodes of what he had me watch, I remember saying "what the fuck" like out loud at least 4 times. So it
So just really good
in
writing.
my opinion. It's great. You're in for a treat, honestly. It's
So you're gonna spoil the whole thing for me on the
I'm
podcast.
not. I'll leave it alone. No, I say all of this to say, okay, and this is what made me think of this question. What is the biggest betrayal in film history? Because I have my answer. It's literally Berserk. If you go and watch it, like I can't think of one that's bigger.
Well, like when you say big, like the moment, or like when you say in history, is it to the audience or to?
Yes, to the audience.
Because there's some.
You're like,
that's a pretty
holy
big
fuck,
one.
I didn't see that coming. Or
I mean,
holy fuck, what an absolute asshole type of.
I mean, you
like,
have that stuff.
It instantly changes your opinion of whoever it is that is doing the betrayal.
You could arguably say like Star Wars had that between Vader and Luke, like when he revealed that he was his father.
Yeah.
Lando versus Han.
Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, you kind of saw that
Yeah.
one coming though.
Oh gosh, what's his name? The other smuggler.
I mean that was probably the biggest.
Yeah, that one is a big deal.
Lando. Yep,
What, the Lando versus Han?
That was a
Yeah,
big betrayal.
whenever you watch it as a kid, and then like they walk into there,
I always felt
and
like
then
is it
he's
when I
having
watched it,
dinner.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
and Vader's there at the table. And it's like, whoa,
Yeah,
like
I mean that was a big one. But I'm trying to think of. I mean I know. I mean a twist. Yeah, but it wasn't.
was too
It
young when The
wasn't.
Matrix
But
came
Cypher
out.
was. Cypher like jumped into the like they showed you his betrayal, like before it even
Cypher
happened.
from The Matrix.
Like they didn't hide it.
You guys remember
like
that?
that's
That was a
that's
good
when it's
twist.
like huge, right? Is when it's hidden till the absolute last moment of when it happens.
yeah,
One thing I didn't see coming was anybody saw Dead Silence.
yeah.
So the ending of that movie blew my mind because I
Right, but is that really a betrayal though? Because he was possessed. You know what I mean?
well, no, she was the doll, the woman that
Yeah.
that woman that was. I didn't see that coming at all. Like, at no point was I like, oh my god, he was a puppet, and she's the actual evil person. Like, she was the one who was possessed, not him. She was just moving his
Yeah.
mouth.
Man, I don't know. I'm telling you, you got to watch it because I have never felt more strongly about like it. Yes, like I tried. I went there after watching it. I sat there and I listened
I
thought,
love-
in my mind for like 45 minutes to an hour at least.
That's
like
what makes
hating
you
a
like
character.
what is
Dylan, though.
bigger than what he just did? Like what is on screen and is shown
being
to you?
so vague and like no, like everybody's like,
I'm trying really hard not to spoil it because it's,
well, I don't want you to
it's a
spoil
big
it.
deal.
I want to have my jaw dropped,
It will.
and then I will come back and I don't know if I can get.
It will.
I don't know if I can get my wife to watch it, but we'll see.
It will 100. Why wouldn't?
She likes stuff
Is your
like
wife-
She likes Game of Thrones. She likes all. If you can sit through Game of Thrones, I guarantee she can sit through Berserk.
Okay.
Like
Then, yeah,
Game of Thrones is sex and murder and betrayal.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Now
of-
I would say the Red Wedding
Mm-hmm.
was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Would you say that
you guys have seen
Scar
that, right?
when he
They
turns
got
on
some
Mufasa
things in
and
common.
kills him?
That was a big one as a child.
Yeah. Dude, you couldn't.
It's-
There'd be no
it's-
way.
Isn't it rated R?
It's yes.
It's pretty graphic.
As a
right?
kid, yeah, that's pretty traumatic.
I mean, you could narrow it down.
Can you imagine watching Berserk
Right.
as
You
a
could
like
get-
9-year-old?
What is the biggest betrayal? We'll just since we did the whole Disney thing, what's the biggest
It's
betrayal of
definitely rated
Disney's
R.
history? Like one where you just don't see it coming.
Probably Anna, Elsa in between the dude, the love interest being the bad guy. That was probably
Yeah,
that was,
that one was a big
honestly
Definitely Scar.
like that was kind of revolutionary. I mean, because they were trying to go against. They actually did it the right way, though, right? They were trying to go against the norms of like two characters falling in love after knowing each other for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But then he was actually the bad guy at the end. That one
Yeah.
blew my mind. I'm saying that's my number one out of Disney would be.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Mine's definitely Scar.
What was his name?
No one knows. Hans, I think, right? Oh.
No,
No one knows. No one cares.
Sven.
Yeah, I think it is Hans.
It's Hans. Is his name, right?
No, that's a good,
Mr.
good guy. Hans was
Duke
the good one.
Duke of Weaselton. It's Wesselton.
Wasn't it? No, that's Kristoff.
Alan
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk, baby.
Like a chicken with
you're
the
probably
face
right.
of a
Yeah, yeah.
monkey. Yeah.
He's so good. I love anything
Yeah.
Alan does. I love.
People are
Alan
gonna be
Tudyk.
yelling
He's
at me.
so great.
So yeah. Anyway, yes, Ethan. That's some homework right there.
All right, I'll
Boom.
watch it.
It's 12 episodes. I watched it. How long did it take, Quentin? Probably, about 6 hours, I'd say. 5-6 hours. You got a whole week to do it. You can do it. I believe in you.
I can do it.
I believe in you.
We watched about 2.5 hours
Yeah.
last
gotta watch
night.
Matter
all
of fact,
together.
we'll just kick it on. Let's
go.
just
Let's
watch it all
watch.
together.
Let's watch the whole
We'll-
thing.
We'll broadcast.
That's
Screw
hours total.
the script. Let's watch Berserk.
Right on. Okay. Well,
finish it
anyway,
tonight.
that kind of wraps it up for me. I think there's really nothing that we can go into other than the one section I'm going to save for kind of last. So yeah, we'll just go straight into. You want to talk about Donald Trump's
Yeah,
tariff strategy?
let's do tariffs since that's kind of on everybody's mind right now.
It is. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
The tax.
I've kind of waffled back
So
and
you
forth
don't know.
on whether
So
or not I think
you're.
it's a good thing.
I know what I think of tariffs, and I think I'm interested to hear Q's take, but you're like in the middle, right? Like you just don't know whether they're bad or good, or vice versa.
It's not that I don't know. It's just that I've changed my mind a few times. I don't really have a strong opinion. I was pretty hardcore for them at the beginning, and then the more that I've sat here and thought about them, I have kind of backed off that a little bit.
If they don't pull stuff up in the video, I may ask you to pull things when we're talking
that's
about
fine.
this. So.
That's fine. Let's get into it.
Why is it important to do this?
Just
to
too quiet?
Institute tariffs to rethink.
No, it's
trade?
good.
I think you have to start with the proposition, has the system failed? And to me, it's an emphatic yes.
Oh wait, I forgot. This is Tucker Carlson. I don't see how you wouldn't know him if you're watching this because
He's pretty popular.
If you're watching us, you definitely know who he is. So he was a Fox News host for a long time. He got fired from Fox. I don't know why he got fired from Fox, but he got fired. And he's got his own YouTube channel and he's running he does like
literally gets more views than Fox.
yes,
when he
yeah.
left.
He, speaking of which, and I don't know how appropriate this is to bring up right now, but did you guys see that Russell Brand got arrested for sexual assault?
What?
Yeah.
Like recently?
Yeah. Like just the other day, like 2 days ago, maybe.
Was it like
on the 6th of
but like
April?
did he do it? Like did he do it
5th or 6th
now,
of
or
April,
was
I can't
this a
remember.
past crime that like he's getting?
I don't know.
Like that's that. I'm just
all
curious.
I saw was it was on the news, and the reason that I bring this up is because Tucker Carlson is obviously a pretty prominent conservative in the media. Russell Brand was kind of leaning that way after, he.
Well,
Yeah.
and he also became a Christian. And so
Right.
so that's why the reason I'm asking that question of when did this
He's
happen?
been
Like, is
doing
this
more
a
right
past
and
thing
right
that he did
further and further.
that is now
I have no-
catching up to him, or is
I
it a
have-
recent? Because
No context, and I just wanted to make that like
yeah,
as he did an interview with Russell Brand at least like 2 or 3 times. So yeah, I have no context on that. So sorry, that was kind of random, like extremely random. So I just I put 2 and 2 together there.
I think of it in sort of two ways. One, if you think of the the way trade is supposed to work. You're supposed to export in order to import that, and then you get the benefit of trade. You get actually you do what you do best, I do what I do best, or I do what you do less best.
Right.
You export, we import, and we get the benefit. We both have higher standards of living. That's not really it's evolved to. It's evolved to now where you have a few countries, the United States being the biggest, that have an open capital system and an open trading system, and other countries have an industrial policy that is designed not to increase the standard of living of their citizens, but to gain wealth. So what they're trying to do is get wealth in order to get assets in the United States, in order to get technology, in order to get all these kind of things that make you wealthy. So I think of the kind of failure.
So this is a good point, just so you guys know. I can't remember who I was listening to this morning that was saying that. This is actually a good thing to do now, to try to bring these businesses back to America now. So that way when the automation comes in, you have more control over what is going on when the businesses become automated. So yeah, anyway, I mean, you might as well, if you're going to do this, you might as well throw your weight around, make sure the businesses come here. We all know that the robots are coming and the people are going to stop working. So
Well,
this, if your end game is that, then it completely makes sense. So
so there's, and this is my point of, this is one of the reasons I'm pro tariff. One, tariffs are just a negotiating tactic to try to make things go a certain way, especially if you have a lot of leverage, which, guys, America buys a lot of shit from pretty much every country. And I heard this on the radio, and I don't know when it was established, but we started doing it for a reason where we had low tariffs on people and we were buying things, and they started tariffing us to help their economies. And it was after a war, and it was, I don't know, I can't, gosh, I'm blanking on exactly the circumstances, but then they were never lifted. Once their economies got better, they never removed those tariffs. And in fact, they actually increased them, and we never did anything to change it. And so there's been this sway of all these other countries tariff the crap out of us and our exports, and we don't do the same. And so exporting in the United States has basically died. And it's really affecting us as an economy, where we just import so much stuff and we're actually not making money. We're just spending tons of money because we're getting tariffed every time we send stuff. And that's I mean, that's a big reason. It's reciprocal tariffs. Like, that's what I don't think people are getting. If they're tariffing us, that's what we're charging them.
Mm-hmm. That's not what's happening, but
it's
anyway.
Not to start with, but it's going to be a reciprocal tariff. He did do a flat 10% to start with, but they've said whatever you're tariffing us, that's what we're going to tariff you. It's going to be reciprocal. What, that they're doing reciprocal?
Well, I mean, it's
not
kinda,
reciprocal though.
I don't think that graph was very. Tyler's saying the same thing as I am, aren't you? That was kind of BS, I think. Yeah, I mean, you have other things.
That was
like there is the the currency manipulation, and then you have, was it VAT taxes as well? Like, there's other things that you could say are
there are some
acting
things
like
too
a tax
that
or
aren't
tariff.
necessarily a tariff,
But when he
are
worked that up,
something that countries are
wasn't too
implementing
big on the,
that hurt our
on that
exports.
graph that he used. I feel like that was going to be us personally.
Yet again, I don't know the exact wording that they use, but it's like, this is on an American good. We're not allowing this in our country because we don't want it to hurt our country, right? So they're not buying certain things from us, and that's part of the tariffs too. Is like, we want you to start taking some of this stuff so that we can start exporting. So there's more than just the tariffs that are involved, at least with the other countries, because there's things they're doing that's hurting our economy. And so that's part of his negotiations as well.
I mean, yeah, you can. Yeah, I'll let this play. Oh shit! Keep shutting my camera
I
off on accident.
I missed. You want to
One.
pause it again? I missed the first part of this because I was reading it. You had me stuck on Russell Brand and his sexual assault case.
Yeah.
It is from past crimes.
Okay.
They started
Right,
the
okay.
investigation in 2023.
Okay. Right on. Right on.
Because this system doesn't work, we have this giant transfer of wealth from the United States overseas, and that is in the form of trade deficits. The way the system is supposed to work, no one should have large trade deficits for long periods of time.
It's not
Things
even
can
moving.
happen. You could have trade
No,
deficits
dude.
with one country,
He's
surplus with another. But the notion
fucking
of a
focused.
country having hundreds of billions of dollars of trade deficits every year is not how it's supposed to work. We now are to the point where our trade deficits, they calculate them at about $700 or $800 billion. If you did it the way you or I would do in a sensible way, you'd probably be at $1 trillion or $1.25 trillion. So that's a transfer of wealth from
Yeah,
Americans
This guy knows what he's
overseas
talking
in
about,
return for
$1.25
current
trillion.
consumption. And it has nothing to do with economics. It's entirely the result of industrial policy of other people and our being defenseless. Donald Trump's essence is he says we're getting ripped off. Our workers are getting screwed. It's not because they're lazy or stupid. It's because we have a bad system that is hurting them and it's destabilizing the country.
Now this part I agree with, right? We've spent since when did it was Reagan, right, that lifted the embargo with China. So since then, our policies have done nothing but evolve towards incentivizing American companies to push their work outside of America.
Yes.
And ship it to China. So this is something that is I completely agree with. I mean, if you're doing this to try to bring businesses back to America, I'm completely on board. What I don't agree with is the math that they used to get there as far as the reciprocal tariff, quote unquote. There's tons of videos that go around that are going around. Quentin sent me a few the other day that they basically just took whatever deficit it was that we had with the specific countries they're mentioning. And then, so they took what we imported from them and then what we exported to them and then just divided them. And then that's what percent that we charge.
Can you look up what other countries tariff our goods from the U.S.?
I can. I totally can. Let's see.
What do other countries think of America? Called the Gulf of Mexico. You mean the Gulf of America? Google, switch it.
So,
like, just for instance, Canada, I believe, was tariffing us like in the 30%, and we were tariffing them like 2%. Like, it was super.
you're talking about, so like this here, right? So this is all bullshit numbers. That's not the actual tariff rate. Right? They tried to say that it was, but if you look here real close, including currency manipulation and trade barriers.
So they're
right. Yes.
It's a very wide swath of
Yeah,
things.
it is 100% misleading.
That,
I mean, it's
I
it's the tariff that they charge us, but
I think
it's
it's maybe
also
a little misleading, which I didn't like
we
about
looked
it.
the other night. It was like, countries manipulating their money, making it worth more or less. So that means that our dollar is worth more or less against their dollar. So, and to sell things in other countries, you got to convert and all of that. We're in like some of these countries, we are royally fucking, and I'm fine with that. Because my belief is that we foot the bill for the rest of the world. So they should be paying us. Okay. I think that the ultimate end goal, which they announced this couple weeks ago, is that of, if you remember, it kind of slipped out that the whole goal is to to have people making less than $150,000 a year not pay taxes. Well, where are those where's that income going to come from? And the short answer is part of it's going to come from this right here.
Yeah. And
and so
a lot of people, so that's the one thing is like, well, we're just flopping money then, right? So instead of paying a tax, we're going to pay more on goods. The thing about it is, though, is not only are these tariffs to help our exports, they're also to bring manufacturing back, because everybody ships their manufacturing to China, Vietnam, all these other countries. And it's because
I agree.
we're not penalizing their products from those countries and making it more competitive to make them here. And and I do literally think that China has given money to politicians that they want to do things favorably to them.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're finally getting caught, or
there was that guy from Maine
repercussions.
That got
There's been
bounced.
a few that got in trouble for doing that this year.
Got court-martialed or whatever it was. I can't remember. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
So I'm just saying, like, I find it hard to believe that we're not getting screwed by almost every country out there. I'm sure we do screw some of the smaller countries and things like that, but China, you really think that we're screwing China?
No, hell no, we're not screwing China.
No. The European Union, I guarantee you they're effing us pretty hard. United Kingdom, I guarantee you they're effing us too. Like, it's because historically we haven't had a business person who, like, there's a reason that we're trillions of dollars in debt and we just print money.
Well, we're trillions of dollars in debt for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, but we spend money and we don't bring it in.
Right. I agree. We do love to spend money, but it keeps on. It's almost like it's enforcing the point that I'm making is that if we're going to foot the bill for the rest of the world, then I'm not so much on board with the tariff because they're tariffing us. It's more like if our money, my money, I mean, I pay taxes, is going to go towards some other country's, whatever their plans are, then like we should be charging them for that.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I mean, I think the other thing that people are really not taking into account is who is tariffing and how he does business. And we saw this the first time around.
Well, a lot of that too. I don't feel like that's really it's not the tariff that's important. It's getting people to come to the table that's important right now. And I think that was an excuse.
Have you guys noticed a price change yet?
To get countries to come to the table.
Anything?
And then hopefully come up with something better.
Well, they have to change their prices, right? So they're getting tariffed on things that are not.
I guess you got to get through
haven't had the
whatever
price change for us yet. Like,
stockpiled.
we're buying things and shipping it in, and they're getting tariffed on it. I have a feeling these so eventually we might feel it for a little bit, but I think by the time we feel it, all the tariffs are going to be back to acceptable levels for everyone, right? I think this is my opinion. I don't know. I haven't heard this from anybody.
Tyler,
but my opinion on this is that this might be a way to get a boost of cash without like affecting, Americans all that much. Because if you let's say you charge
1 month
a big tariff for like a month or two, right? That for that month you get a huge boost of extra income, right? And it's just, I would like your guys' thoughts on that. Like, do you guys feel like that could be a possibility that they're just, because they're trying to find places to grab money to pay for the deficit, right? And I just think that might be a tactic to where you're like, we're going to drop a tariff on everybody, and then they're going to all come to the table and we're going to change it, but we're going to get a big boost of cash for like this month when we do it.
I don't know. I think you're going to get better deals out of.
We can handle.
I mean, what's it matter?
Though.
Like we buy stuff from China. What if we just buy stuff from India?
Their economies rely on us buying
they make
so
just
much
about
stuff.
As much.
They can't handle people not buying their stuff. Like that, yeah. We hold the cart. Like that's one reason we're being so like with China. When have you not went to a store and it says made in China? Like the tariffs hurt their economy big time because they don't. Like with what they pay for things and what they charge, they don't charge nearly enough to offset if they have to pay more money, right? So it's I think that's a big part of it. Like they rely on us buying their stuff, and if we start buying it from another country, we buy it here, it would crush China. So they're trying to play hardball. And I don't think it's going to work. They're going to have to come to the table.
Man, I don't know. I waver so much. I keep just going back to that.
We also have to consider it's been like what, a month? Like he hasn't been a month. He hasn't been in office very long.
Okay, it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Not even. Like stuff is moving extremely fast. We're not used to. Because it took him a while to drop tariffs on people and stuff last time around. Mm-hmm. But, like, they have a game plan, and they are moving at blazing speed, and it's blowing everybody's mind, and I don't think that the news cycles can handle it. Like, it's just crazy with what is being implemented and how quickly. And that's part of the reason that everything is just so up in the air.
Right. So Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Change that to a month. There. Yeah, you got it. Look at that. When was the last time it was below $65 crude oil? We were below 60.
2021.
How long ago would that have been?
2021.
Yeah, you'd have to look at the spike after
during
COVID.
COVID. Nobody was doing anything.
That would be.
Well, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and it's been sky high ever since,
right?
Right?
It's 2020 to 2022, where it just ramped up.
Yeah. This here is
and then you can see where I guess supply, maybe they caught back up with supply.
And then boom,
that high res.
There's this giant demand because everybody stopped believing that COVID was a real thing.
It went to almost $100. Jeez.
It was 120 a barrel at one point.
Jeez.
And then the demand kind of, or the supply ramped up, and so they dropped a little. I mean,
my point is, like, you obviously have a cost in, transporting goods. So if you're lowering the cost there, like, that's kind of offsetting some of the tariff. Companies will
they're not incentivized to eat any of that.
Not all of it, I'm sure.
That's the thing. I mean, they can pass it straight on down to the
change as much as you think they would on a lot of things.
I mean, yes,
That's true because people are only going to pay so much, so they have to eat some of that.
Stay competitive with whatever
if it's imported goods, you're not going to only pay so much on necessities that you have to have. Like, you're going to buy that stuff regardless.
What's a necessity that you import?
I don't know. Let's just use. I'm trying to think of something. Let's hypothetically. I'm trying to think of one. I can't. No. Pharmaceuticals is another one. Like most of that shit comes from China.
There's a lot of drug companies in the U.S.
that they can't keep up with the American demand because our doctors love to put people on pills.
Yeah, okay? That's a whole nother problem that we can talk about on a different day.
Yeah. So you've got, most of the is it antidepressant medication? Which I know that we import a shit ton of medications from
You're just
China,
shooting off the hip.
And
you know what we did import from China? Anybody know where I'm going with this?
COVID.
Yeah. Chinese virus.
Let's see. Lithium-ion batteries. Consumer electronics. Wow, it doesn't even food products.
Yeah.
Okay.
I doubt we get that much food from China. Like if you look on the list, like you saw how far, like what is the top imports from China? Like what do we import the most? It's literally right.
I like to type.
Yeah, we don't. It's not necessities.
Plastics.
Yeah, but
it's a necessity. Everything is in plastic. Plastics is a very broad category, sir. $21.5 billion in 2024.
How much plastic is made in the U.S.?
Jesus Christ. What is this, Bill Nye?
Yeah.
How many dollars? Oh my gosh. Market size of plastic and resin manufacturing in the U.S. is $107 billion. Okay, so you import 25% of your plastics from China.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're telling me...
we can get it here.
No, you can't. Not in the short term, you can't. There's a reason you're importing it from China.
It's because it's cheaper.
If it was cheaper, you'd import all of it.
No, not necessarily. But you do. That one reason people spend money and buy stuff from China is because they don't charge the same wages that U.S. companies do, because we have a lot of laws to protect people. So their manufacturing, they can charge way less because they don't pay their employees as much.
Right, you're right. They don't. But
yeah.
We also refine quite a bit of crude oil, so I think that's a major
I mean,
you can, but that's still going to take time
in making plastic.
Right. I understand that. I understand this, but I'm saying it's going to affect, because we buy so much from them, it's going to affect them more than it's going to hurt us.
I understand, but
we also have a lot here already.
As it stands, they control 25% of our plastics market. Okay, as it stands.
Yeah.
Okay, if you take away a quarter of our plastics market, imagine I understand that I'm making a stock market reference here, and no one gives a shit because the everyday person does not care about your 401k and all that.
As you shouldn't. If you're our age, you really shouldn't even be looking at your 401k.
Just imagine your portfolio losing 25% in one day.
Yeah, but that's what the stock market does.
Hypothetically,
if I was retired, I would. If I was, then yes, I would be upset.
Imagine your portfolio losing 25% in one day. It would
suck. I get it.
Say you had $100,000 in there, $25,000 is gone.
Yeah, no, that sucks. But also, if you have your money in the market, that's part of the gamble of having it in the market, right?
I understand. Okay, well, let's say
there's volatility.
Imagine
volatility.
Imagine government, the Social Security Administration comes out and says, "You know what? We're going to cut your check by 25%."
It's a good thing that, I mean, right now, like there's a lot of fixed interest rates that are actually pretty good still. And
right.
if I was retired, I would probably pull my money and put it in a fixed thing while it's so volatile.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, you can't discount the fact that they are, yes, to a certain degree incentivized to keep the price the same, but not to the level that you're thinking they are.
What I'm saying is that they're more because of how much we buy. If we stopped buying it, it's going to bankrupt some people and things. And so they are incentivized to try to keep that price low, and you eat some of the costs, or you lay people off to fill
how much
that.
of the cost are you eating?
Well, it just depends on what the percentage is.
You're a business owner, right?
But
if you did business in China, or you exported a product to China, and China said, you know what, we're going to charge you 35% extra just for exporting your product here. How much of the cost are you willing to eat?
Yeah.
Before it becomes disadvantageous for you to even attempt to do business there.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. Then you have to be like, well, I'm not shipping anything there. I'm only going to do business here, which is part of what Trump's doing anyways, right? We don't care about these other countries. They're profiting off of us. And
the funny thing is, I say all of this as someone who's like, I think that these countries should be paying for us. And
I get it, but I think people are like, the market exploding and dropping for people, like the only people that this is really affecting, and it's affecting more of these people, is the Wall Street bankers who manipulate the market all the time. Mm-hmm. And stuff. You do have some people that have retirements that are being affected, which it does suck, but it's also just, I mean, it's a risk that you run having that money. Like, if I was that old, I probably would pull quite a bit of my assets and put them in fixed. You know, if I'm actually pulling money at that point. Just
imagine how many older people voted for him and then are mad about the tariffs.
Yeah, but if you have your money in there, well, there's a lot of people who. Yeah, you shouldn't have your money in the market if
they're older. They shouldn't have their money in that kind of market.
I don't think that they have any room to talk. Honestly, I mean,
what, the people who retire?
Let's be honest. No. Just like the people that voted for him and then are mad about the fact that
if you didn't know that this was going to happen. I said, what did I say? I said this about the last week on episode 2. I said this about the government jobs. I knew this was I voted for this, and I'm completely okay with it, because I know I'm seeing the long game, and everybody's stuck on, we've been through 3 months of Trump and the world's exploding. And it's like, dude, it's been 3 months. Like, wait till we get to year 3. And then like, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why was I even complaining?
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be that way, but
when they say, and
I understand what you're saying.
Like when they shouldn't have what?
Well, it shouldn't be, because we shouldn't be printing as much money in 3 years.
Yeah, which is going to raise the value of the dollar, having less of it
too, which is kind of inflating.
Exactly, which is going to be good for us.
You'd
as well,
a better.
But my thought process is, because they said that they've got like 70 plus countries already trying to do deals. If people were like, oh, he's just tariffing people, and then he's not going to negotiate. That's not how he does business. He is kicking you in the shin, so that way you're like, oh wait, that hurt. I don't want that to happen anymore. Let me give you a better proposition. And that's what's like, they're taking phone calls. I mean, people just believe the media way too much. And
well, so was we were not.
We are watching
another 7% today too.
We're watching people try to get in a pissing match with Trump. And when has a pissing match against Trump ever
looked
worked?
Pretty even.
Because that's what China's trying to do. They're trying to piss farther than Trump.
So Yeah, no, the Dow ended up, I think, down another 1,000 points or something like that.
Didn't it have it? It started good though, didn't it?
Yeah. So almost
320
and that was after the news of the countries coming to the table, right? Like that's kind of when it popped a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Close.
All I know is things were okay, and this is okay. This brings up another point that I wanted to make here.
Well, the market just doesn't know what to do.
So there's a video, or I can't remember who it was. Anyway, this guy, the market is definitely not perfect. Okay, it's all people are emotional, and they can try to not be as emotional as possible, but it is not a perfect entity. Okay, you don't just put money in there and then 20 years later you have more money or the same amount of money. Oh, do you? Do you? No. People get scared, just like COVID. You erased. There were people losing 25% of their portfolio in 1 day or 2 days or whatever it was. It is not a perfect thing. Okay, it is ran by people. And people are emotional. That's all I wanted to say. It's not perfect.
Hey, and then what? I mean, perfect example. Let's jump back a little bit to GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example of this. And then what happens when the people decide to do what everybody else is doing? And then, but what happened? Didn't I'm pretty sure didn't stocks get frozen, and you couldn't trade
again.
Multiple times, yes.
Yeah. So, what does that tell you? If you want to rely on the market, when we actually do something and they lose a ton of money,
yeah.
So who really controls the market if they can literally stop the trading?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that was just Robinhood that did that. So, I mean, I guess TD Ameritrade also did that.
Anybody who was small, like
the brokerages, the small brokerages,
the average Joe brokerages for people that can't buy into $200 stocks and stuff.
Yeah. So that I know the market's pretty broken. So, anyways, I think.
Keep in mind, everybody, it's still a good place to invest as long as you plan on having your money in there for a long period of time. So,
and here Ethan is giving investment advice.
No, I'm not giving. I'm not giving financial. I'm just saying it's still a good place. Like even though, like, because we are bashing it a little bit, right? But like, I would put money there, but I don't plan on. Yeah, don't sue. Don't take my advice.
Disclaimer: don't sue us.
Professional
investment professional.
Not yet. I do want to get that license at some point, but I'm not there yet. But to be fair, it's still a good place to invest your money because it on a 20-year average it has a good return. But you need to plan to have the money in there and don't freak out when it goes down. You just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it jumps 40, if it jumps up 40%, you lost 20%, but then you got that 20 back once it skyrockets. And once all these countries come to a deal, we're going to see the flip of the market because that's all it's freaking out because it doesn't know what to do.
That got a little heated, fellas.
Sorry.
We had a little disagreement there, even though I think generally we were all saying the same thing.
Just in different ways.
I don't know.
What were we talking about?
I think if things stay this way for a long time, it is going to be passed down to the consumer, and I think is what is most concerning for the average person.
But if you can get your inflation down like they have been, like you're offsetting there, you're offsetting the cost of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
I would, like I said, I assume that some of the companies are going to eat some of the tariff costs. Like you telling me Nike's not going to eat some of it? Come on, I've been shopping.
No. They're not. Yeah, they're not going to be able to raise them.
They ain't worth $90, and they're not going to be able to sell them if they take them up to 130. They can't.
Yeah. secondhand. Just go to the thrift store and you can find plenty.
Nike sucks anyway, but whatever.
Well,
I agree with Q on that because there is a price point that you can't hit.
People make it out.
You can't raise it, and we're already paying that already.
Right. I'm not so much saying that. I'm not saying like the things that aren't, I mean, this was a good example of that. If you erase, in this example, it was 25% of an industry, like that is going to.
It's going to affect you in the short term, not the long term.
Let's not forget also that we live in a capitalist society, and most of the people that run these big corporations are evil people. Okay? So any chance that they get to make more money, they're probably going to do it.
Yeah, but the thing is this stuff that's happening is for us, not for them.
Yeah. Well,
because it's hurting them the most. Like, one thing I've come to find out is when the majority of the news media and the left are just outright against something, somebody's pockets are getting hurt, and that's why the yelling is so loud.
Yeah, I understand. And again, I agree with tariffing these countries, and I'm here for the short-term pain. I don't know. I think that if this you could see this completely backfire and it causes another Great Depression.
This isn't.
That's the level.
I don't think it's going to go that long. It won't last because like I said, that was today. I heard that from the press secretary. They already had like 70 plus countries coming to the table.
Right.
And yeah, I mean
Venezuela. He was on top of that.
I mean, Israel, they dropped their tariffs immediately.
Chainsaw in hand.
They still got tariffs, and that was one where I was like, that's not cool. But they ate the 10% tariff, and they're an ally of ours.
Israel?
I think there are some
Do they even
things.
make anything?
Yeah,
matzo balls. There's a lot.
I have no idea.
They export.
What do we buy?
And kosher the stuff, but they import sand.
Kosher salt.
Yeah.
They do have trees in Israel. There's some green there too.
My bad. All you ever see is just broken buildings and sand.
Buildings and sand. But
yeah,
like to be fair, like they immediately were like, "Well, we're not going to tariff you." They dropped their tariffs to 0 because they were like, "We don't want to." They don't want to mess with that.
Right. Well, yeah,
and stuff. So I was like, man,
hey,
why are you tariffing?
Ethan, they live in an area where everybody around them wants to kill them.
Yeah. So they need all the help they can get.
And okay. The last thing they want to do is make Big Daddy mad. Okay.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Hey, also, did you guys see that? Elon Musk is he's getting out?
He has to.
Of government?
He has to. He had to though. He could only serve for a certain period of time.
He's got it all set up anyway. I don't think
he's a contractor. The contract was only for 6 months.
Well, no, since he's not an appointed person, he's also limited for how long he can serve. And I think people are just missing that.
6 months.
Yeah, people are missing
6
that
months.
fact. Yeah, yes. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But yes.
It's
like you can only serve for 6 months if you're not appointed. You have to be.
Yeah, but you see the storyline that
you have to be confirmed.
The
they're making it being like, oh, he's out, and it's
there's a rift.
Yeah, there's a rift. They don't like, but it's literally like he legally can't serve for longer than 6 months.
There's been rifts. I mean, why wouldn't there be some rift? Come on.
Yeah, I'm sure there has been. He is not.
He's not even. He's not pro-tariff anyway.
But they make
one of their disagreements.
Crap ton of stuff here in the U.S. Like he probably has, his company probably makes the most stuff in the U.S. Like it's crazy.
Tesla is the most American car brand.
Tyler looking like he's like, you guys are crazy. No, they literally make a huge portion of everything here. Tesla's up there.
Raytheon.
That's not the point I was making. If you're talking about sheer volume,
I'm not talking.
It's definitely Johnson and Johnson.
No, I'm not talking about sheer volume, but like out of all the stuff that they produce, like the majority of their parts and everything is here. Like what? He probably gets his batteries outside of the U.S. for the vehicles, because that's where everybody gets them.
Oh, definitely.
That's the other thing. So the other thing with these tariffs, and this is something we haven't seen yet, and they were talking about this on the radio today, is all he has. So, and you can look this up, but I believe he's gotten more capital investment than Biden had in his full term just in the last few months. Like
Yeah. So how much is Tesla? How much business do you think Tesla does every year?
I mean, it's in the
car sales
in the billions.
It's
probably went down.
Tesla,
it's probably went down since they've been
revenues
torching everything
per year. Look at that. So they are the biggest. Okay, fair enough.
I told you.
As far as money's concerned, but sheer volume of product, it's definitely.
Well, yeah, but those are small things. They're making cars versus making baby oil.
Hey, Diddy needed everything. Okay. He's the number one. They had a secret entrance in the
Did
bag.
he just make this podcast
for Diddy? Okay. Yeah, no, I just thought that's pretty interesting, and the mainstream news is like making it out to be like this big rift. I mean, I know that he did have the fight with Marco Rubio, but that was, they had a pretty large disagreement.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway. We completely blew that one out of the water.
What's the next? What's our next topic? I feel like we
moving on.
Got good amount on that.
You think? You think?
Just saying. That's hot in here.
So yeah. Anyway, did you guys see that? There were some dire wolves that got brought back to life.
This would probably be up there in one of my favorite animals. Engine was evil.
Named that company that
Engine
did that.
was
Engine.
The bad guy.
I mean, honestly, perfect.
I don't know if I would name my company that's trying to revolutionize things Engine.
I mean, let's be honest. The name is actually a pretty cool name. It's Colossal Labs, yeah. So
I think that's what the name was. Oh yeah.
We got another clip from Joe.
Something that could bring back the dire wolf.
This seems really quiet. You guys hearing this?
Yeah, turn up just a little bit.
Sci-fi, fantasy, and kids more into science and into the conversation around conservation. We thought it was a cool idea, but we had no idea if we could pull it off.
Is there dead dire wolves that were trapped in permafrost, or is
no? Most of the dire wolf skulls out there. There's thousands of them in La Brea tar pit. So if you go there, they have this beautiful wall, but because of
you ever seen the show La Brea?
Yeah, I actually liked it.
How did you like it? Oh my gosh!
You like it? It was fun.
Well, it was okay the first season,
Why not?
And then the second season was just shit. It was absolute shit.
It is.
There's an earthquake in Los Angeles, and they all fall in this big ass hole. Oh my gosh, dude! No way.
Yeah, it's cool. It was fun. You can fuck right
I
off.
don't think so. No. You could tell that it wasn't supposed to be that popular. It's supposed to be like a 1-season throwaway because the second season was made no sense. No sense at all.
That's cool. That's cool.
There wasn't even dinosaurs.
Just give me more dinosaurs. Direwolves.
Dude, it didn't have them. It didn't have.
They needed to have them.
Okay, were they gonna fall? They're gonna fall through a sinkhole inside the sinkhole to get even farther back in time. Is that what's gonna happen?
But Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah, Hollow Earth.
Brendan Fraser's gonna be there to guide him.
Wasn't there a
too.
T-Rex in that
"Take
movie?
My hand.
Oh, maybe, dude, they could put like a particular demographic of Germans from the 1930s that escaped down the center
that'd be
Earth down there.
1940s.
I'm trying not to say the word.
Yeah.
And they're fighting
Right
them, and then like 30s and 40s, whatever. And then like you got like a historical figure riding like a T-Rex, and they're like
Historical figure
that's
riding
actually
on a
movie. I can't remember what
T-Rex.
that movie is, but
I get it.
Yeah, there's a movie. I can't remember what the movie is, but there's a movie where they're on the moon, and he comes in riding on a T-Rex on the moon.
Is this our Abraham
I'll have to
Lincoln
look that one
Vampire
up.
Slayer?
I can't remember the name of the movie.
That was a good movie.
Hold on.
Did you see it?
Hold on.
Have you seen it?
Let me. Hold on.
No.
It was the dumbest concept, but I was actually like, okay. I thought it was going to be the stupidest movie, but then I watched it and I was like, hey, you know what? That's not the worst film I've seen.
Iron Sky.
So, for those Iron Sky, look it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Iron
Sky. Tyler, that was the name of the movie. Yep.
Yeah. You tried so
Zombie
hard.
Hitler. I said the name. You're gonna have to bleep it out.
Since he said that, Nazi
rides a Tyrannosaurus
gosh.
Rex on the moon.
Okay, right on. This went in a whole different direction.
All right, I want to hear more about.
It's a fun watch.
The heat and acidity.
Yeah, he's down there in the center in Hollow Earth right now.
Anything that's protected. Like there's nothing you can get from that.
He could be riding a dire wolf.
About 6 years ago, a group, including Beth Shapiro, our chief science officer, sequenced a tooth that was found in a cave, just a single tooth, right? And in that tooth, they actually found they actually got 0.15x or coverage of the genome. So they got about 15% of the genome, but that's not really enough. You need to get up to about 10x, meaning that you can read the entire genome about 10 different times so that even if there are gaps, you understand enough of the core kind of coding regions that you could bring back that animal. Or
is this done by AI?
So my understanding is that this is no, they weren't.
Not
yet.
They weren't even close.
He's explaining the whole thing. So my understanding is that this is one of the scientists that works at that company.
Okay.
So
well, if you watch the whole podcast,
so we built part of our business model is building technologies to solve these really complicated problems. They're much harder to solve than just solving them for existing species. Open sourcing that for conservation for free, but then also taking those technologies that we can monetize for humans and spinning them out. So our first.
You hear that?
What did he say?
You hear that?
No, I missed. Back it up. I missed exactly.
No. He said, taking that technology that we can monetize for humans, and then spitting them out. Those were his words.
Or like,
why wouldn't we need gene modifying?
Well, so there's a few things, but actually, one person that put it in a good way. Have you ever? He's been on Joe Rogan a lot, but he's a conservationist, blonde guy, travels the world. He posted a video on his TikTok, which we should watch that.
Yeah, he's cool
because he talks about like the ramifications that it would have towards us as humans and what they're going to be able to do by bringing back things that have went extinct. And by doing this stuff, and he does talk about probably what this guy's talking about, but also wouldn't just going and seeing them be a way to monetize this? Like people are gonna pay to go see dire wolves and stuff, just like Jurassic Park,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's true. Like as soon as they get dinosaurs, I'm like, I'm in, and then except it's probably gonna be like. Yeah, but
I don't think they're going to get enough of a genome.
Those things are not as old as you were told.
Fossilized.
I'm just telling you.
My gosh.
They're not.
All right.
You guys want to get in?
Fucking.
You guys want to get in?
Cheese on the moon.
No, I'm not.
Computational analysis. It was performed by, and we actually spun it out of the business.
So you have this tooth.
One.
What?
I just said fuck you.
Oh.
Fuck you too, Q.
Well, number 2.
Look, we're gonna stay away from that.
Number 3.
No,
We're gonna
hold on. Because here's the thing, and everybody has their own opinion. I have mine, right? And I'm getting I'm serious right now.
He's getting fired up here.
You were taught things in school that they say are the way things are, but they don't know 100%. And it's a theory. And the Earth, like, one thing that we're starting to realize is things are not as old as they say they are, because they have literally found soft tissue on dinosaur bones. Soft tissue doesn't make it past what is it, 10,000 years? Maybe more. I'm not 100% sure, but I have watched videos of scientists, like, under a microscope pulling soft tissue. How long does soft tissue how long does it take to decompose? Yeah. So, see, I thought it was even less than that. But
4 million years.
But even that still throws a wrench in what they believe, because they say dinosaurs were 100 million years old. Yeah.
Well, it says has been found in fossils as old as 195 million years.
That throws a wrench in that belief already, right? Yeah. Well, like, so we were talking, Tyler, are you familiar with the Shroud of Turin?
Never heard of her.
You? Yeah.
It was the shroud that was put over the top of Jesus Christ. It has an imprint of Jesus Christ in there. They thought it was real, then they thought it wasn't real.
The thing is when they dated it, this was back in the 80s, they dated it, and the oldest they could date it was to the Middle Ages, right? So like the whatever century that was. Now our technology has gotten better. They have actually found like pollen fibers on the shroud itself that date it much older, and dated all the way back to the 1st century, which would have been the time that Jesus was alive. Like, they found the pollen. They've even identified the pollen from the exact region of Jerusalem. So it's opened the mind. But literally, you go from 1980 to now, and because we have better technology, we realize, oh, the fiber that they analyzed was like a patch, or it was something that was on the shroud itself from that time period. But we have better technology now, we can find things. I'm just saying that as time goes, our mind gets open. Like, medically, we used to think leeching people was a good idea. Like, leeches to an extent, but if you bleed somebody too much, they die. Right?
Like a pig.
Yeah. So it's like your mind expands, and I think as time gets on, we're going to start realizing that the Earth is not as old as everybody says it is. It's not. It's at max probably 10,000.
What if it's older?
What?
4 million years it's not 4 million years old. Well,
this is a Stark.
I believe in creation. I'm a creationist. I believe that God created the world, and you can actually date human population.
Hey,
I do believe that the Bible was divinely written.
Right. But your argument that you used was that of they told us these things in school that were wrong, that we're finding out.
Well, they're telling you some dudes. Right. They're telling you somebody who came up with a theory, and they're saying that it's fact, and you're treated as fact. Anything outside of that is not. It's a theory. Evolution's a theory. I tend to lean more to creation because they're.
You see where you're kind of going there.
There are more. manuscripts for the Bible than any other historical document in the world. It is the most historically accurate piece of literature in the world.
Historically accurate document we have.
All of it.
The New Testament.
Reason being, when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, that pushed the Old Testament even farther back. And they have basically every book except for, I think, the book of is it Esther? When they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, they had like all but like one or two books of the Bible that they found.
You don't. You're listening. I might have misspoke
way more than 10 times that. I'm not talking about a theory or somebody's opinion. This is what we use to consider as a historical document. There's way more evidence for the Bible than any other document.
How old is written history?
The oldest historical document?
How old is modern written written history, where we started keeping records of everything?
Since the and when
historians too,
Tyler, when I'm talking about historical documents, I'm not saying that the Bible is the only historical document. There's sources outside of the Bible that collaborate things that are in the Bible. And that's what
are the sources?
Speaks to its historical. Well, a lot of like Greek historians. I mean, this is mainly for the New Testament, right? But if you're speaking,
the Greeks didn't believe in Christianity.
No, but you had Romans, and they're speaking a lot of times about events.
Neither did the Romans.
Well, yeah, they're. Well, yeah, they eventually did. But what I'm saying is these are not religious people. These are historians of that time period that are talking about Jesus, talking about him being crucified, and talking about things that the Christians are doing. And like one of them even making fun of Christians who are just like, these crazy people are dying for some dude that died on a cross. Like, because he doesn't believe what they believe. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, when you consider something historically accurate, you have to have a certain number of sources. It has to, the regions have to line up, the names have to line up. All of these things the Bible has to say that it's an accurate document, even outside of biblical sources. I really have no idea how we got on the Bible.
So
what is happening?
Let me ask you a question here.
Dinosaurs.
What constitutes it being historically accurate in that way, as the most historic?
Cross-reference.
The New Testament. It's cross-referenced quite a few times. Like if you. And then, like the time of David, like they didn't think David was actually king for a long time.
I don't know about that,
scientifically, right?
But
Ethan. And then they recently found that pottery that had it showed David's house on the pottery.
Yeah, and that's that's a big
maybe
thing.
He was
is
actually
like
a real person.
It speaks to.
Yeah, but how do you know it's actually him?
Region. Yeah, and a lot of times, so anytime that there would be somebody in question, like, let's say it was a Roman, like Pontius Pilate, for instance, like a governor or things that come into question where they're like, we don't even know this person exists, like historians and stuff. Then all of a sudden, archaeologically, they find a pillar with that dude's name on it because it was like, this is a decree from so-and-so who was governor of such and such city. And they're just like, oh my gosh, this person does exist. It's like archaeological evidence along with historical evidence inside and outside of the Bible is what speaks to its validity as being the most historically accurate document. Now, you can argue the contents of what it says. You can argue the divinity of Jesus. The thing that you can't argue is that Jesus lived and died on a cross, because that's 100% historically accurate. There is no argument that even atheists who don't believe in God will tell you that Jesus was a real person who died on a cross.
Right. Again, I did misspeak. The point I was trying to make, I guess, is that just there's no one alive today that can verify.
No, but no one alive today.
How old the how old the Earth is. Like,
no, but
the Earth could have been around for millions of years before we, look, God could have happened upon this universe and been like, oh, this is a perfect universe. Let me just put everybody here, right? And that's when the Earth, because he created the Earth first, okay, before people.
That's accurate.
The people had to be, okay. So it could have been here, and then
I mean, there are some people that believe that. So you guys want to know why I don't think dinosaurs were made and lived millions of years before man was ever created? I believe that we walked alongside dinosaurs, because a lot of Christians, that this is where they differ, right? Is before we sinned, before we ate from the apple, death didn't exist. And we have fossils of dinosaurs eating each other and things like that. And death in anything, nothing ate anything. There was no death when man was created. Once sin entered the world, that's when sickness, illness, and death happened.
That almost feels a little too convenient.
What do you mean convenient? That was the when God made the world, he said it was good.
Yeah.
And it was perfect, but he also, because I mean, what is love except someone choosing to be with a person? He gave us a choice of, he's like, here's a tree, don't eat from it. If you eat from it, you're going to die. But he still gives us that option, because then we're choosing to obey him, right? Or choosing to serve him, or choosing to love him. And then obviously we were deceived. The serpent tricked us and said, you're not going to die. You'll be like God. It'll open your mind. But two things are right at the same time. It did open it opened Adam and Eve's mind that's when they started seeing that they were naked. Up until that point, you didn't realize you were naked. And they had the knowledge of good and evil, so they knew what was bad and what was good. But they also started to age and started to die. So they did die.
Were there?
Born, they're programmed a certain way.
Hey. To go back to Ethan's point.
I think you want to know what made the dinosaurs go? I think we killed them all. That's what I think happened. Yeah. Well,
I mean, I'd be curious what a stegosaurus tastes like too.
Have you seen a depiction of
Tyler?
What was it, Nebuchadnezzar from the Bible? There's statues of him. Have you seen him depicted? Well, they say that he was a giant. Hmm. There's a statue of him holding a fully grown lion like it's a teddy bear. I'm just saying, ancient stuff was a lot bigger than today.
Dude.
Then why'd they get so small? Why are we larger than people born in the 1400s or 1500s?
The giants, they were not fully human.
But that doesn't answer my question. Why are we larger than the people that were born in the 1400s? That was 600 years ago.
What do you mean by that? I'm saying the reason I'm saying that things were bigger is because back then you had a mixture of things that weren't completely human. You had a mixture of angelic beings and human beings. You had hybrid. It's in the Bible. Yeah. We can go down some weeds, but
that still doesn't answer my question though. Like, why?
I don't know why we're bigger than
why them. Why are we on average like 8 inches taller than people that were born 600 to 800 years ago?
Probably yeah. Fluoride's not good for us.
Better food. Probably fluoride.
I mean, if you're saying the Earth is only 10,000 years old at the most, why are we so much larger than people who were born 1,000 to 2,000 years ago? Like the people that got killed in Mount Vesuvius,
Yeah,
okay, which was how many years ago?
I'm trying to understand.
1,400 years ago, somewhere around there.
I'm trying to understand your point, though.
20% of the Earth's history. You're saying that people were much, much larger at the beginning of time.
No, I'm talking. I'm not. No, that's not what I mean. I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
There's a section during Noah's day before the
mixing with
flood when angels came down and took wives, and then they had children. Mm-hmm. Those children were superhumans. They were giants. It's where Goliath came from. So they existed during the flood and after. There's some weeds that you can get into, but they do.
I thought the point of the flood was to rid the world of them.
Well, it was, but they're
and the fact that we were major sinners.
But the angels are angelic beings. They didn't die, and it happened again. They came back and did it again during Sodom. You remember Sodom and Gomorrah? It happened.
Well, didn't he like bar them from coming to Earth?
Well, yeah. So he chained them. There's a place where they are chained up. But the thing is and I don't know. There might have been more that did, because the Satan falling from the sky and taking a third of the angels, that's not a real thing. It's something that somebody took one scripture and said that that's what happened. That's not what the Bible says. It doesn't say how many. But there are the ones that are punished. The ones that fell are the ones that took wives and then basically abandoned God. But it happened again in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's one of the reasons Sodom and Gomorrah was burned to the ground, was because of that. But they weren't wiped out until Israel went back into the promised land, because King David's the one who killed the remnants of the Nephilim, the giants.
Here's a question,
which is why he's favored so much.
If we're the only ones with free will, then why did they disobey God?
Like, what do you mean? I'm not saying that they don't have free will.
They did.
They obviously have.
Okay, so then you're saying it was God's will for them for angels to sleep with humans?
No, they obviously made a choice as well.
Yeah, but they don't have free will.
They're not no, that's not what I'm saying. We're talking about animal. We're talking about things that were created on the earth. Like animals and stuff, they're pre-programmed to do things.
If we're the only thing that's made in God's image, and we're also the only thing that has free will.
But I'm not talking about an angelic being. I'm talking about like on earth. We're the only thing that's made in God's image. We're the only thing that has free will. Angels we're above them in like the order of things. They're not in God's image, but they are angelic beings, and they obviously have free will because they took wives and did things that God didn't want them to. That's why. Right. Yeah, I get what you're taking. I wasn't applying that to angelic beings, is what I was saying.
Okay.
But it's
fair enough. I don't necessarily think that I agree with you in the abstract sense, but we've had this discussion.
Yeah, this is just a fun thing. It has no weight on salvation at all. But it is something that I think eventually you're gonna more stuff's gonna get revealed as science gets better, as technology gets better, as they dig more. And they might have found some of this stuff already, but it's being hidden from you too. Like as far as but I do think they found giant skulls, right? Q. Like I want to say that they have.
I haven't seen any. I've seen like stuff on Facebook.
But I want to say that they have found things, but they use evolution as being like it's us evolving, things like that.
0.5, so 15% of the genome.
Okay.
And so I went to Beth, who was only an advisor at the time, and said, "Could you resample?"
That was a long rant on biblical stuff.
Half an inch long. She's like, "It's destructive sampling. Like it's going to ruin us." Well, could we scour the other museums and
none of our viewers are going to want to hear it at all.
We looked out, and that tooth's 13,000 years old. The skull itself is 72, 73,000 years old. Not exactly sure, but it was found in a riverbed and it wasn't found in a riverbed at the mouth of a cave. So it wasn't found like in the permafrost, but it also wasn't found in like heat and acidification. So there's a bone in all of us called the petrous bone, which is insanely dense, and it doesn't change a lot from after you're born. It's a great DNA storage, better than teeth, better than anything. It's like in the inner ear kind of head area. And so we got permission from the museum to very carefully drill into the underside of the skull and remove see if we could get DNA.
Yeah.
And we got really lucky between resampling the first and the skull. We ended up getting about 13 to 14x coverage. So that's more than we needed to potentially bring back the direwolves.
And then what'd you do?
Well, and then
so what they're saying is when he's referencing the 1x, 14x, 15x, that means it's a full gene sequence. 1x is 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that way.
He said he
gaps,
needed at least 10 to
see,
at least 10 of them to cross check.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's to make sure that you if you're gonna do this, I'm sure that they probably have males and females of these.
Well, they already
animals,
have.
So
I'm pretty sure they've already, like, woolly mammoths are coming. Like that's.
I don't know.
Well, no, like they've already implanted them in like elephants, and they're incubate, like they're.
But I heard about that like 4 years ago that they'd already done it. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know the incubation period of.
But I heard that from the same guy that I was talking about that was previously on Joe Rogan.
Long time.
That's where I heard it, and he talked about it on Joe Rogan. Yeah, but maybe they died when they came out. Like maybe it wasn't successful, but I did hear that, and that's going to probably be the next thing that comes, is because they have a lot of. Yeah, they have a lot of woolly mammoth DNA.
Well, the Russians doing it anyway. They're probably bullshit.
Sorry.
And then we got a knock on the door and it was no, so we took that DNA.
Can I ask you before we even start with this?
Yeah.
The aggressive reporters is it you're playing God? How do you have the right to do this?
So it's been a journey. Okay. So the journey that we've had is when we started the business, we didn't have any scientists. Like we just didn't, right? They're like, this is tech bros wanting to see cool animals, and they've only got $16 million in funding and they don't have any scientists. Ha ha. So that was phase one.
Right.
And
you asked me.
Well,
it's your fault.
As an entrepreneur, my job is to hire much smarter people than me.
I probably shouldn't have.
I do not. Gary's got me on quite a kick. So
health kick.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
cigars aren't bad for you.
Well, I'm not saying they're bad for you.
Doesn't Joe Rogan take nicotine?
Yeah, I don't care. So this is the last.
He smokes cigars a lot.
Yeah.
Taken that are probably bad.
Yeah, Zens, right?
Yeah, do it. Everyone's got their vices.
I
got one right there.
I didn't realize, but apparently there's some health benefits to taking nicotine.
DMT cigar.
It'd be like, what right do you have to invade the natural process of nature and to inject your curiosity and your ability to create new life?
I think that we've become the apex predator on this planet.
Are they really creating new life though? I mean, they're
they're also they have to use something that's alive to create.
It's like a replica.
They're not. They're definitely not creating new life. They're just bringing.
They're bringing back something. Like we're not creating life from nothing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, it's just
it's more of a hybrid, right?
It's like breeding. It's like breeding two different dogs together,
and then they're just changing.
No, I thought that they were 100% direwolves.
No, they're not. They mixed them with gray wolf.
I thought that they used a gray wolf surrogate.
Yeah, which they injected the genomes into an embryo. But they're mostly direwolf. They're more direwolf than they are gray wolf. Which is why they're so much bigger.
Rogan, but we're gonna pull away from this because we've been on it for a long time.
I wanted to see him. You didn't even show any video. Dude.
Yeah, we can see him here.
Yeah, I want to see him.
This video's been all over the internet. I don't understand how you haven't seen it.
No, I've seen it. I wanted to see it on the podcast.
Yeah.
So a gray wolf is the closest living relative of a dire wolf. They're genetically really similar, 99.5%.
She's like right up in that camera, isn't she?
And phenotypically, their morphology is also similar. Only direwolves are larger, more muscular.
At 6 months, they're 80 pounds.
Coats and other things that we can see from the fossils. And so we targeted DNA sequence variants that we believe lead.
So, because I don't know how much of this we're going to leave in, how much of your religion rant that you went on we're going to leave in. Is this what humans domesticated?
What? Wolves?
Yeah.
I mean,
dire wolves.
I think you bred. Well, there's more than just dire wolves at that time.
Were there?
I think it was a dire wolf. Or,
yeah, I mean, there was multiple,
whatever other heinous species it would have been. Like those wolves, knew if they followed humans would kill something. They were just around in proximity, and I think just eventually, became man's best friend.
Yeah, it says likely multiple dog species. They bred them with other they mixed them with other animals to domesticate them, is how they did it.
So you're saying, okay, fair enough.
But you're are you talking dire wolf? Did we domesticate dire? I mean, possibly. I'm not.
Well, you know the story about domesticating cats, right?
Cats aren't domesticated. They're fucking evil.
No, they're domesticated.
No, they're not. They kill everything.
They are, yeah. So the story on domesticating cats is when cats would, they would gather up at the edges of the village, right? And basically people would feed them, and then the ones that would be violent would die, and over time they learned that if you're nice, you get food, but if you're violent, you get killed. It's probably the same way with dogs as well.
Well, I mean,
actually,
yeah, if you introduce something into human population and they either fear us or they get a reward. I mean, they're not stupid.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure if we wanted to domesticate raccoons, we've already started that process, we could probably do that.
All raccoons need to die. I hate raccoons so much.
I don't think so.
They serve a purpose, but I don't know what it is.
Gray wolf cells to contain those direwolf DNA variants, and then we cloned those cells and created our direwolves.
Sort of looked at what we do with gray wolves. We beefed up the caloric
They're going to bring that back. Saber-tooth
formula.
I want to see one of those.
A puppy milk replacer formula, and then quickly by 8 weeks they were weaning and being fed whole solid foods. So they're getting everything from ground meats like beef and deer and horse meats all the way to now they're actually experiencing whole prey. So they get to sort of
they're experiencing real people.
At 6 months they're experiencing whole prey.
Yeah.
Chew on meat and bones and all of that. And then, as they develop, they start showing you hunting instincts and stalking instincts. What they'll probably never learn is, right, what is the finishing move of how you kill a giant elk or a big deer, something like that. Those are sort of those finely tuned social learning opportunities that these guys won't have.
So, yes, they have slightly genetically modified wolves, maybe. And that's probably the best that you're going to get. And those slight modifications seem to have been derived from retrieved direwolf material.
They said this would never
Does that
happen
make it a
20 years
direwolf?
ago.
No. Does it make a slightly modified gray wolf? Yes. And that's probably about it.
I mean, it's what they did in Jurassic Park, essentially. Right?
This is one thing that seems to be completely lost on the de-extinction.
I mean, let's be honest. This guy's poo-pooing on it, right? A little bit.
It's impressive.
20 years ago, they said that this would never happen. We'd never be able to do that, right? The one thing that we cloned died within 2 months or whatever it was. So
that thing's lived 6. Those are 6 months old, and they look good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the technology is good. Yeah. It's good. Well, I think the problem is wasn't what we did. Did we actually implant the clone thing, or did we put it into we genetically incubated the embryo? Like, did they actually put it inside of a lamb and have it like they?
Yes, it was born. Yeah,
it was born.
She had a mom, Dolly. I think was
so
her
it
name,
was born.
right?
Okay, I was curious on that fact if there was a difference, like if we actually.
Yeah, she only lived like 2 months, 2.5 months, or 3 months.
The technology is just better. I mean, the medical technology, but they're going to be able to grow organs, things like that. Like that's what this is. That's what they're gonna. That would be the human application, right? Is to be able to.
You're high as a kite. You know what the human application is? Cat ears.
Cat ears.
Elon said it himself. What are you talking about?
Gosh.
He said it himself. He said genetically modified cat ears on women is possible. That's what's going to happen. And that's the question I was going to ask until you went into this. We ended up on the other subject, which is the opposite end, but was probably going to happen anyway whenever I asked the questions.
Let's say that even you managed to bring back a sufficient number of mammoths or dire wolves to create a
And look, I do want to point out, like I do believe in God. My views may be a lot different than yours. Like I believe in creation and all of that. I just don't necessarily think that we should take everything that's happened in history as a necessitative fact, I guess would be what I'm saying. So that's it. Other than that, I'm dropping it. We're done. No more.
Viable population. This is important because you need thousands of completely genetically diverse individuals in a population for having any chance of surviving into the future. The whole Adam and Eve concept of you create two and they can just go on and do their own thing. Now that's called inbreeding depression. And then things die very quickly. Most introductions of most species fail, over 99%. Why? Because there's a few individuals that inbreed themselves out of existence. And this is the same with respect to
hamsters.
Humans. It happens in humans. It happens in mice. It happens in the smallest individuals.
Not in dogs.
Provide the associated evidence.
This whole point. Pause it for a second. How long have we been breeding purebred animals? But
it's not the same thing.
No, but a purebred dog typically has genetic issues because they're not supposed to be purebred. But that's inbreeding happens, but dogs
right. But we're forcing that to happen.
Yeah, no, I get that. But like his whole point to, like he's also trying to discredit like the whole Adam and Eve. You can take two things and breed them. And
I actually watched. Have you guys ever watched the Infographic Show? It's a YouTube channel. Got a bunch of. I'll just show you real quick. I'll show you real quick what it looks like.
I don't think
they have a good video on this right here. Yeah. So it's basically how many people it would take for you to repopulate the world if everyone died. And what they came down to was, I think it was like 4 people. It would only take 4 people for you to get back to this. It would take a ton of generations, and yes, everyone would eventually would have the same bloodline, but eventually you would repopulate the entire world. So that guy objectively is probably wrong. So, because he was saying, right, what you were saying about how you can't, they breed themselves out of existence.
Yeah.
Right. So
that is a massive red flag. It suggests that, well, at best, they've over-exaggerated. At worst, they're lying through their teeth.
I feel like this guy's just trying to be objective. He only has, how many views has he got on this?
Well, this is global news, so.
Oh. No, but it's cool, and it's exciting.
It is cool and exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
I think we need dinosaurs now.
It's going to happen.
I think we need...
I don't know that that's going to happen.
According to Ethan, we're not.
Well, no.
The
thing is right age, right? That's the whole thing. When we get dinosaurs, when they find something that's not as old as they say it is.
Fair enough. But they did that off of a bone.
Well, you have depictions of dragons in the Middle Ages.
Dragons and aliens.
Yeah, there was tons of drugs. People love
there was
drugs.
tons of drugs. They didn't have the drugs we got now.
People bullshit. They did too. People love drugs.
Yeah.
Right? We suffer from this thing called the human condition.
That's true.
It leads us to do a lot of drugs. So anyway, moving on. We're gonna get into something a little more lighthearted. Okay.
Chronicles of Narnia?
No, yeah, it is Berserk. I do want to go through some of the Joe Rogan comments, though, if you guys are okay with that. First comment got direwolves before GTA 6. I love it. If mammoths come back before 6, I will boycott.
Too late.
Bring back T-Rex and send to San Francisco. Jeez.
Somebody doesn't like San Francisco. Yeah, I know.
Direwolves are back. Guess I got to
Jurassic
cancel
Park.
my morning jog and start carrying a sword. So
I want them to go to a zoo, and I want to go see them because that would be awesome.
Here you go.
What is it?
If Trump isn't riding a T-Rex to negotiate with China and Russia, what are we even doing as a nation? Make it happen, America.
I love it.
1.6 up, dudes. It was pretty good, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Anyway, so figured we could get into some TV stuff. Some TV stuff here.
Okay.
You like TV? You like TV stuff? Yeah, I heard Demon Slayer was pretty good. So this is a video from Watch Mojo. Top 20 most popular animes of all time. Mm-hmm.
All time. Me Canyon did a video on that too if you wanted to watch that.
Yeah.
You can watch it all the time. A little too weird.
Oh, I love Ashley.
Top 20 most popular.
And then I'll ask you guys one more question. And then
I've heard that meme before.
More JoJo references.
That's right. For this list, we're going to be looking at the anime that are commercially successful the world over.
Just so you guys know, this is 3 years old.
Both their sale figures, as well as how beloved they are within fan communities. What's your favorite anime of all time? Let us know in those comments. And as always, if there's an anime list you want to see, go to my Twitter at AshJBo, give me a follow, and let me know.
What kind of name is that?
Number 20, Code Geass. Exiled from his home in Japan, which his nation has conquered, Lelouch seeks to instigate a rebellion and take revenge on his father and his homeland.
What's happening here?
I, Lelouch V. Britannia, command you. Now all of you, die.
I don't like animes like this where they make the main
To accomplish
character
this,
look like a girl.
he utilizes the show's title
Like, if it's
ability,
supposed to be a guy,
Geass,
just make
to
him
make
look like a
anyone he
guy,
sees do
you know?
exactly what he
I think
tells them.
that's what,
feminine,
like their
rebellion
culture. I
as-
think that's what they find attractive, though.
Giant
Yeah.
neck.
And then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I literally just watched all of
Zero.
it. He's got
Code
feminine
Geass
To
features.
jump back to episode 1,
Something for everyone, from mecha
people
Code
like
Geass is
creating
good.
attractive characters.
to those who enjoy
It's a good one.
anime, reeling them all into one exceptional
Throwback.
Calm
series.
down.
All the way to
Mister.
With
episode
its
1.
movie and other projects, it appears Geass hype is at an all-time high.
Wait, what is this about again? I wasn't listening. I was too busy focusing on.
It's political.
I love
so
that you
it's
know this.
it's him.
You watched so
Okay.
much
Taking
anime
back
as a
the
kid,
kingdom.
didn't you?
Long story short, he's got some powers, And he's basically like he is leading a rebellion to conquer
personal favorites is coming up here pretty quick.
the kingdom.
Like
Number 19, One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Who says superheroes have to be serious? Saitama may look goofy and unimpressive, the superhero for fun, but
That's
it
Piccolo.
just so happens he's the strongest one alive.
Isn't it Piccolo like in the English version?
That's
too? Like,
that's
isn't it
his
Christopher
voice.
Sabat?
It's
Yeah.
literally Piccolo's voice.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
and this
it
is they're
was.
making fun of Attack on Titan here, right?
Yes.
The first episode.
I mean, that guy looks like he's out of Attack on Titan.
His ability to defeat nearly any opponent with just one punch earns him disbelief and occasional admiration, as his attempts to turn pro lead to many intense.
Here's a question for the audience of you two, mainly for Quentin, because Ethan probably won't know the answer to this. Do you think this will ever get fully released, like all the way through the manga?
No, I don't think so.
It'd have to be like one.
I don't think so, but maybe. Depends on if they'd have to keep a good studio going on it. I mean, season 2 I didn't like as much as season 1, but I think the season 1 studio is supposed to do season 3, so maybe it'll be better.
Pretty long.
We'll see.
I mean, you were telling me some pretty
the first
crazy
2
shit
seasons would
with
be maybe
this.
like
like where he
yeah, it goes pretty far.
Mhm.
So there's the Monster Association arc, which will be season 3.
Yeah,
It's where they go
Orochimaru, yeah.
fight Orochimaru. It's the same. No, Orochi. And then
Orochimaru's on Naruto, isn't he?
yeah, I would say yeah, I meant Orochi. It's the Monster King. I would say there's probably like
Okay,
6
that's
seasons.
not that-
worth
that's
of
not that
many.
Content. Already done. 6 or 7. And they got to keep that stuff. Doesn't last very long a lot of times though.
Well, this
I mean, they
this
just
show was
kinda
commercially successful.
don't
I
make-
mean, it was a big deal.
We'll see.
In America, everybody knows who's Saitama. Well, because it took him like 4 years.
Yeah,
to release it.
that's a
not as
problem.
much.
Is when it takes them a long
You know?
time to drop the other stuff.
Right on.
Season
right on.
3 is supposed to be this year.
What do you guys say, Ethan?
We'll see.
I saw you were like trying to. Your face looked a little puzzled.
Well, I mean, Q said that there's 6 seasons. I think they'll get through 6 seasons. It's going to depend on if they keep making the manga.
I would say for sure. The reason is because not to be a spoiler, but you're watching this, and this is like kind of as far as like a superhero fighting monster fighting show. It's pretty. This is how you would expect it to go, right? It gets completely crazy. So that's where I was kind of going with it.
And often funny battles.
It's raining out,
Like-
so let's get this over with.
No more fighting monsters. Put it that way.
I love it.
The series' wonderful contrast between serious action and comedic
That fight was
moments
so
is
sick.
emphasized through superb animation and expertly
When he
crafted
fights
fight
Boros.
scenes. And being featured on both Netflix and Toonami in the States, it's no surprise it became so widespread.
Killer move, serious series. Serious punch.
One of the only
Number
animes where the
18,
Japanese
Sword Art
version's better.
Online. You can hate on it all you want.
This is
but
one of my favorites.
It's one of the highest selling light novels of all.
I love
Translate to the
when they
first
go
season of
into
the
Season
guns,
1 was good.
It's
The
still
rest of it's
pretty
kind of eh.
It's the
Trapped inside
it's the
a
fairy
virtual
stuff
video,
that I don't like.
Kirito and Asuna have to traverse a gauntlet filled with enemy players, monsters,
That's his
and the
girlfriend?
occasional awkward love scene.
His wife.
No, wait, I mean, I just...
Its immense polarization has only served to earn it more attention, which might explain how it's landed itself multiple spin-offs and sequels, and they just keep getting better.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
Bleach,
I've come here to rescue you.
The liar.
a supernatural
Bleach
shonen travel
is
series
my favorite five.
which follows Ichigo Kurosaki,
Four.
a hero
Tell us about Bleach. I don't care about this guy.
Well, pause it.
What?
So,
Holy shit.
like 300 episodes. Bleach. Bleach is 300 episodes. They just did a new one, The 1,000-Year War, and it's I haven't watched it all yet, but it's probably another 60-ish. Yeah, it's Ichigo. That's the main character there. He's a soul reaper, and it's just kind of a power struggle the entire time. He's just always having to get stronger and stronger to fight the next big bad guy.
Like Goku. Yeah.
Long story short, power creep. Yep. Whole thing.
Oops.
That's all it is.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen.
Human turned Soul Reaper, whose conflicts with otherworldly foes take him and his friends into various dimensions of the afterlife. The show's emphasis on youthful rebellion really strikes a chord with younger people. It captivated fans everywhere with
Yeah, tell me about this. Because this apparently, this isn't the one that I was telling you about earlier where...
No, it kind of is. That's Brotherhood.
Them as kids,
that's just kind of a continuation-ish. They're young, yeah. So you've got that's the main character. His brother, if you play it, he'll be a guy in a big armor suit. Okay, surely he'll show up.
Okay, yeah,
always does. Right there in the back, you can see Spike. So they're alchemists. Their mom, I gotta remember this. It's been years since I watched it. He goes to do kind of an experiment, and his brother gets caught in the middle of the experiment, basically dies. And then he attaches his brother's soul into this suit of armor, right? And the whole story about it is just them fighting bad guys. Pretty much. I'm trying not to overtalk this. Like, I know you wanted to watch it and stuff, but they get into hijinks. There's kind of a shadow syndicate type of bad guys. I'm trying to over.
Oh, that one was good. Go back a little bit. Go back a little bit.
JoJo?
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh no, it was what, Death Note? That one was
logical explanations of its fundamentally flawed characters.
Yeah, Death Note's good.
So
that's a good old one too.
Dragon Ball Z's on here, right?
Yeah.
Evangelion.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is. I'm trying to not.
Yeah, we don't want to watch the whole
blatantly
thing.
Rip the video off. Well, no, I'm just trying not to rip the video off too much, just in case. But this is a Evangelion. What is that? Is this basically just Gundam?
That's full of Metal Alchemist.
That
Neon
is,
Genesis Evangelion.
Metal.
This is basically just Gundam.
It's kind of
They fight monsters?
It's more Pacific Rim.
They call angels. I remember.
Yeah, they're monsters, basically. Yeah. And they make these suits to fight them. It's basically
one of the most influential.
So we're gonna skip all of those and go to like the top.
Like a banner of hell, this place and won't be going anywhere for a long time.
Not a fan.
Number
like that one.
7. Okay, so this is. I'm gonna skip to the top 5.
Okay.
You guys good with that? 6, 5.
I had a feeling you'd say something like that.
Actions is justified, while others still insist L is
Death
still the
Note's pretty
sexiest.
good. I watched it when it dropped on Netflix.
Feeling you'd
Hold on.
It's kind of good. Pause it.
Okay, that's 5. Go ahead.
You'd probably like that one, Tyler. It's
I
kind of
remember
cat
Death
and
Note.
mouse-ish.
I watched the.
Like you've got.
I didn't watch that. I didn't
you
watch
did watch
that
it.
one, but I watched when they remade it for Netflix. So. The live action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Didn't they have like 2 or 3
It's
seasons
just a
or whatever?
movie, isn't it?
Oh.
Had William Dafoe. William Dafoe played the demon or whatever.
It's not that good.
That was. Yeah, I can't think of it. I can't think of his name.
Ruko,
I thought
Ruko,
William
I can't remember
Dafoe's
the
just
names.
anything you
It's been
put
years
him in.
since I watched it.
Just great.
Ruko.
Honestly, he's a really good actor.
So, here is the Here's Watch Mojo's from 3 years ago, top 5. Okay? And I want you guys to be making sure you pay attention to these, because the question I'm going to have for you after this is going to be pretty important.
Okay.
For you to know the top 5.
Okay.
So,
Pokemon. What started out as an innovative video game managed to turn itself into a miniature
Very good
empire.
show, by the
One
way.
that spawned
This-
an anime
this show
series that somehow has found a way to keep going
probably-
even to this day.
this show is definitely the reason
No one ever
Pokemon is still around.
Hoping to be the best like no one ever was,
Other than the
Ash
games being
Ketchum
fun.
took the place of the player as he set out to become a Pokemon master.
Oh, hi, Pikachu. Pika.
While he hasn't quite managed to achieve that title yet, or escape puberty for that matter, his adventures have still managed to earn him
let's be
hundreds
honest.
upon hundreds of episodes, numerous female sidekicks,
They just keep
and pretty
raising the
much the
bar.
guarantee
It's just the power
that
creep, just like
sometimes
everything
quantity
else, right?
over quality.
Anime in general, it's always a power. Like, just scales. There's always something stronger.
Yep.
Easy King Jolteon Dragonite Gaslit. Ponyta Vaporeon Poliwrath Butterfree.
Number 4, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. In such a short amount of time, Demon Slayer
seen
has
it.
grown into a mega hit.
Yeah. Have you seen this?
Pretty good.
Is it? I've never seen it. Apparently, it's like a big deal, though.
Joby likes it a lot. I like it. I think there's some that I like more, but
Absolutely
it's
no
a good
one
watch.
saw coming.
It's worth a watch.
Propelled by its absolutely stunning anime adaptation by the masters at Ufotable, manga sales have been through the roof, surpassing even the latest volumes of One Piece.
This is in English too.
It's a top
This is in English too. Yeah.
based on the
I couldn't hear
Mugen
you.
Train arc, not
in
only
English.
became the highest
Yeah.
grossing anime movie of all time, but the highest grossing worldwide film of 2020.
The fuck
Even
is
the Prime
that?
Minister of Japan is a fan.
Oh.
Number 3, Naruto franchise.
Number 3.
Episodes and gained infamy.
One Piece
for
is
a
number
few
1, right?
It's a good one.
You know, I've never seen.
Because you don't have the guts to do what I do.
I've never
Yet
really
through it
seen very
all,
much.
the
of it.
knuckleheaded insisted to give us a series that, despite its flaws, created a
There's your
world
favorite,
filled
Q.
with such brilliant moments. Were more than happy to push past its hurdles.
Yep.
Its manga remains a bestseller. It managed to dish out a whole slew of original
Why'd
movies,
they end it?
and even got itself a sequel series that has managed to
It's still going.
They kind of didn't. It's still going. It's Boruto, so it's the sun.
Yeah, but not as cool, right?
Who would have guessed? Number 2, One Piece. It's
Not as cool.
Is he going to put Dragon Ball Z at number 1?
Haven't finished all
It's
that.
epic
No
narrative
way.
saga. Managed to blend batshit insane fight scenes with political poignant commentary.
Because most people would say this is over Dragon Ball Z.
His masterpiece
Why is-
would be
why
an
is-
understatement. Thankfully, the crazy quality of the
Why is
work
Luffy so
hasn't only
overpowered?
earned it a diehard set of loyalists with each new chapter and episode like Hungry
gets his ass
Wolves,
kicked a lot.
but the way it bypassed all manner of shonen conventions has made it the gold standard for all adventure anime that have come after it.
I'm not going anywhere. They're coming. They're all coming to rescue me.
It will truly be a sad day when Luffy has to hang up his hat.
そんな攻撃
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel
Yeah,
and
don't
ring the
forget.
bell to get notified about our
Subscribe, hit
latest
the bell.
videos. You
Watch
have the
Mojo.
option to be notified for occasional videos
don't have to
or
do this
all
later.
of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Dragon Ball franchise.
That blows my mind.
West on how action
Why?
and animation can go hand in hand. It's fair to say
Because,
that this
like,
series is especially the case of Dragon Ball
The
Z.
community doesn't. I don't think they agree with this.
The gateway to the wacky, wild, and wonderful stories that can be found in anime.
I mean, am I wrong, Q? I don't know if you can hear me. I
don't know. Certainly hasn't been forgotten, which might explain why its sequel series.
It is on mine.
To recapture the populace's adoration of Goku and his friends as they take on the might of intergalactic combatants.
I mean, if you, I'd pause it.
So let me break this down for you. Right? Actually, give me your reason as to why they don't agree.
Well,
with it.
no. So like me personally, Dragon Ball's my favorite. Like out of all the animes I've watched, honestly, like my top one be Dragon Ball, and I love Zoids. I don't know if you guys ever did you guys watch Zoids at all? It was the Zero the Z series, the Liger Zero. Like that was one of my favorite animes. But Dragon Ball Z is for me. But from anybody I talk to in like videos I've watched of like people who are anime 100%, this is like the redheaded stepchild of anime to a lot of people. It's like Naruto, One Piece, like the weirder the higher up it is.
Dragon Ball's storytelling is pretty shit. Let's be honest. If you've ever sat down and watched Dragon Ball like all the way through, it's the traditional hero's journey trope. Like,
but
there's
the characters
nothing really
so
that
good.
happens that's crazy. They are. The characters are, especially in the anime, I don't know about the manga because I've never read it, are written really well.
Well, and the voice acting.
They're voice acted extremely well.
Actually, I think that might be part of it, is that the American version of this is so much better than whereas in the other stuff, that's not the case, which I think is why this is not ranked among the community. This isn't as good because most people like watching the original language stuff. Like Quentin, most of the stuff you watch is in Japanese or China, like Japanese anime or
Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees. Look at these.
You're gonna have to cut that out.
Yeah, I know.
That's so funny. I think Quentin stepped away. I would like his opinion on those, but
this is just my opinion. I mean, you people who watch anime can lambaste me for it. I'll take it. I love Dragon Ball. It's probably my favorite anime of all time.
I'm in complete agreement.
The first time that you see Goku go turn into a Super Saiyan, it made you, especially the Americanized version,
crap your pants
as a kid. It made you want to stand up and do the same thing. You know, I mean, you're like you're pumping the fists and screaming. You know, like you wanted to be a Super Saiyan.
Although I will say this: classic Dragon Ball Z, not the new Dragon Ball Super or anything. The best Kamehameha was this fight right here.
Yeah, the father-son one.
No, when he Kamehamehas. No, I'm not talking about that. When it's just Goku one-on-one with Cell, when he instant transmission and point blanks him and blows him in half.
Yeah.
Just the scream from Sean Shamel, like when he's like, God! Like just like all the effects that they add. It is like the greatest. It's so epic. Like.
Man, I don't know. The best one I think is I think it's this fight too, when he is up in the sky and he aims it directly at the earth and they're all like freaking out.
That's what That's the one I'm talking about, because he's aimed up and they're like, he's insane, and then he's like instant transmissions and he's like and then like just blasts the piss out of him.
Yeah,
I want to watch it now. It's so good.
But to bring it full circle, I think the storytelling is not very good.
I would agree.
If you've ever sat down, I mean,
it's
it had like 400 episodes or something like that, right? It not only that, but he literally learns a move that can allows him to transmission himself instantly anywhere that he can think of. Yeah. Okay. He's massively overpowered, and yet he never uses the overpowered moves until it's like the very end.
Yeah, because
and then
he
it's
like,
oh yeah, I forgot. I'm a new level now. I can just kill you instantly.
Because he likes the fight. Like that's the whole thing.
Yes,
That's why he doesn't go full power. Like he always holds back.
Yeah, I know. And they talk about it in Super about how it's a big character downfall. And Vegeta's like the opposite of him, you know. Vegeta's too prideful, so he's always
That's why Vegeta's always going to be behind Goku.
Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. I just
I'm just surprised that he has it as number one because I think the actual anime community would not agree with that, and for the reason that you stated here it's not super well written.
One thing that I will say is that this show made a lot of the shows that came after it possible.
Yes.
If you don't have Dragon Ball, you probably don't have shows like, I don't know, like Naruto.
Did you say Avatar? Avatar was
Naruto.
Avatar was American made. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I said Naruto.
You want to talk about a good
Yeah, that is a good one. Yes.
But Avatar, that's an American. But I would say probably in
you probably don't have One Piece. You don't have
in America. One Piece was. Yeah, I think One Piece was before.
One Piece.
But
I feel like One Piece was
wasn't.
before.
Look, I'll show you. No.
This is 1989, 96.
Wasn't?
Yeah, One Piece was in 96 is when it started. Might have been 92.
Who would have guessed? Number 2,
99.
One Piece.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I will say... Go ahead, Q.
I mean, you're good. No, the big three that they talk about, that was One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. That was when stuff kind of started getting
keep in
really
mind
popular.
that Dragon Ball, though, was mega popular without the internet, without, it was just straight up word of mouth. This is badass. You better watch it.
It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was after school cartoons. Toonami, baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think,
it was a cartoon,
and I could be
anime
wrong, but I
was.
feel like
You know what I
Dragon
mean?
Ball
Like,
and
it was
Dragon Ball
just a
Z
cartoon.
made anime mainstream in the U.S.
Yeah, 100%.
Would you agree with that? And then that's when like Americans
That's probably
really
so.
got into it.
I'd probably agree
And
with
that opened the door for the rest.
Which
Yeah.
all of
especially
these,
the commercialization in America.
all of these
Yeah.
old animes then got dubbed into English because I think up until that point they just didn't think that English, like there was a market for it, and then they dropped.
Agreed.
They dropped Dragon Ball Z with amazing voice acting, and then that kind of opened the door for everything.
So we've watched this, right? And we skipped we watched the top 5 and the first 3 for some reason. So the reason I had us watch this is I want to know what's your guys' favorite of all time.
I mean, it's the one I watched at 3 in the afternoon after school, which was Dragon Ball Z. But I will say this, like, because Quentin, yours, I think I know yours, but my other one would be Zoids. Like that was one that also was on Toonami, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But I only got one season
Gundam Wing.
The Good
That's always a
Zoids
good
because
one.
they had spin-off ones, but they only had the Liger Zero was my favorite. I think it was like Bit Cloud or whatever was the main character of that. And dude, I lived for that show. And then they did one season of it and then it was gone.
Yeah. I know.
Did you watch it? Did you ever watch it?
No.
Oh, you watched it, Q, right? What'd you think of it?
Mm-hmm.
I love that show. It was awesome. Like it's giant.
It was really fun. It was fun
giant
watching when you were a
robots
kid.
you ride and they fight.
Don't know if I'd like it now,
Zoid
but when I was a kid,
and they
it
were
was fun.
awesome.
And that was an anime?
Heck yeah! It's so, dude, you would like it.
Nice. Yeah,
it's right up your alley.
Toonami.
Right on. Q, what's yours?
of all time.
I got quite a few. I mean, I got several that I like, but
Yeah,
probably the one I had you just watch.
That one.
That's a story.
You'd put
if
that
I've
one
ever
over
heard
Naruto?
Naruto's got a lot more to it. It's just the difference. I mean, if you talk about like
Berserk,
all of the literature too behind everything, probably Berserk. It's a little more mature. Definitely more mature, but
yeah. See, but that's what puts it in the all-time for, like what I experienced as a child.
So.
Like that's what pulls me back.
A little more nostalgia.
Like I wouldn't say Dragon Ball Z is my favorite now, but I loved Claymore, which Tyler's never seen.
I tried to sit down and watch Dragon Ball Z again.
It's hard to watch. I did watch it with my kids.
I made it to right when Cell gets to perfect form, and I couldn't go any farther.
Why? That's when it gets good.
If you don't watch, I know that, but if you don't, I tried to watch every episode.
You're watching
not
the
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I watched the skip version because I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then I went back as like a kid.
So many filler episodes.
I went back as a kid and I was like, man, we were screwed with filler episodes.
Yeah.
I had experienced that as a child.
Right on. So, last question, and then we can be done. This is from 3 years ago. Is there anything that's been made in the last 3 years that you could see taking over any of the top spots? Yeah.
Like taking the mantle of anything. Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
That's pretty new, and I think that's within 3 years. That one's pretty good. Jujutsu.
Right. I'm trying to think of an anime that was made just recently that I would.
One that I just watched, which gained a lot of popularity. See, before this, and I'm not letting you guys in on, I did watch another video that used Google Trends to build out what the #1 anime was for X amount of years. And Solo Leveling is like gigantic. So
what's the one? What's the?
Oh yeah, Solo. I don't know why I completely
what's the one
that
with
one.
the vampires? Is
that
that one old? That one, is it Castlevania?
Which vampire one?
That one's pretty popular, isn't it? It was on Netflix.
Castlevania is pretty new. But
Quentin
it's
knows
just based
I
off the
bitched
video
and
game.
complained a lot about the first season of Solo Leveling. Did not like it, actually. And the second season totally.
What about like how to pick up chicks in a dungeon or something? Like, isn't there one like that?
That one's pretty good. There's like 4 seasons of that one. It's kind of
And then they have a similar one about
How would
cooking
you
too,
put that?
right? That one, I thought I saw something like that, where it's like a
Delicious in
cookbook.
Dungeon is what you're talking about on Netflix. Not the same.
Yeah.
They basically are eating stuff in the dungeon. It's funny. It's more of a humor one, kind of dark. How to pick up chicks in a dungeon. That's more of a just adventure one. It's adventure.
Yeah.
Main character is kind of.
Hey,
just
if
this funny
y'all
wimpy
can't
kid.
tell, Quentin's watched a lot of anime.
He loves anime.
He went to Harvard for
We
anime
talk
class.
Nickelodeon cartoons. That would be my jam. That's what I watched as a kid.
Right on. That is an anime that is, it does not get enough credit or
Avatar,
the respect it deserves.
Avatar,
is
Avatar. Like
yeah.
that shows that us Westerners we can put out some good crap.
Yeah,
because
that it does not get
it's such a good
the respect that it deserves. It's so
So
super
well
deep.
written,
It's
too.
got the story elements. The fight scenes are good.
I can't believe you never watched that.
The one I didn't
because
watch.
it's so
Yeah,
good. You
really
should
should.
watch
Watched
it. The first one.
And the first time he like nuts out and goes full Avatar mode is fucking insane,
Dude, and like
So-
rips into the Fire Nation ships and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
the other thing that makes Avatar so good is the story of that and the character development. It's pretty deep, like with Zuko and his uncle, and just it's the love story, like all of it.
Yeah.
Like when I look at that,
all the love stories, not just
yeah,
those two,
but like in comparison to Korra, I did not think was as well written as the first Avatar.
I thought Korra was good until the first 2 seasons of Korra were good, and then after that,
it's because that's when that movement, the woke, the movement that invades every episode, the woke movement.
Look,
they tried to.
Look, everybody. Switched. We promise that we don't just sit here and look up woke on Google every single day.
It's in everything.
We promise.
Yeah. But it's true though. Like they had a certain story, and then they're like, oh wait, we want to literally push an agenda, and so they just completely rewrote Korra to make her fit something that it was like, that's not how that character was the first 2 seasons, and you're just gonna change her now. It doesn't make sense, and it's like you got to start a character that way if you're going to do that, and that's what made the first Avatar so great. Was like.
Well, it was weird that she Anyway,
the ending didn't make sense. Yeah. It did not make sense. It's like we want her to be lesbian.
I wasn't gonna say it. Actually, I was gonna say it, and then I decided not to. So
said it for
thanks for taking the heat.
You. But it's like we want her to be a lesbian, so let's just make her get with this chick that they've been friends with. But there was no. They tried to cram it all into one season, and it did not make sense.
It's weird. I know. You know, because they had the perfect love match already made.
Junie, do the thing.
Brother.
Best part of the whole series.
Like,
All right, Q.
So, all right.
I'm gonna hop off.
We'll see you, man.
Just edit this part out. And just
say bye. Just say bye, Q.
Died something on here. She's just
now we got his audio.
Bye.
So that's really it. I mean, I don't really have many more or any other point that I can make.
This episode got weird.
I'm sorry if people feel like this was not as entertaining. I do have one request, that if you are watching this, I haven't seen a lot of animes in my life, and I've recently started to watch more of them. So comment your favorite, and if it's good, I'll tell you if it's good. If it's not, well, I'll tell you if it's not. So, okay. That's it. That's all I got. I mean, I don't have anything else. I mean,
thanks for. I mean, if you listen to the whole thing.
No, I mean, we made it. We made it through everything that we wanted to talk about today, and it took 2 hours and 40 minutes.
And we only had 3 things, but in glitch fashion, we went off on a. I don't know how this got biblical. It just, we went there.
It did,
and the conversation got kind of deep. And it's not anything that we normally talk about. So
it felt a little confrontational at times.
That's good. That's good television.
I promise.
We really are normal. I just want to say that we're not crazy.
Yeah, no, it got a little weird.
But that's why people watch. This is cable TV right here.
Cable.
Reality TV.
Cable. Catch you next time. Keep it glitchy.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yes, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our episode. If you would like them to take on a certain topic, leave it in the comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. These boys do try so hard. But we all know I'm the real star of the show. So keep an eye out for my glitchy music and let us know what you would like my next song to be about. And as always, keep your chats glitch free. This is Glitch in the Chat.
Then silence.